Hi, this is Dave. Should your business be a platform for preaching? Platform for preaching? It's a question I am sometimes asked, and that's this. Do I need to preach to people if I'm going to run a Christian business? And, that very specifically, I feel that from a Christian business person who is struggling with the idea that his business could be a, quote, biblical business. That's my term, biblical business. And while the answer is no, you don't have to preach if you're going to try to run a Christian business. Still, the mindset behind the question requires, I think, quite a bit more explanation. So let's dig into that. The mindset behind the idea of if you're going to run a Christian business, you should preach. First, a little background. I believe the religious establishment has for generations promoted the idea that there's nothing Christian about business. According to the clear majority of professional Christians, Christianity was what one did in church, and business was decidedly non-church endeavor. Therefore, the two didn't mix. That's the idea, a bad idea. I recall two missionaries visiting my home in the late 90s and ridiculing me for using my speaking practice to fund our short-term mission trips. I was a charlatan for mixing business and Christian ministry, and they would have nothing to do with me or my family. To them, they, the professional Christians, were the custodians of the kingdom, and no one better infringe on their territory. The idea of a Christian business was anathema to them. And that idea began to change, I think, around the turn of the century when some missionary groups, frustrated with their inability to operate in certain countries, recognized that while their efforts to enter those countries were stopped, those same countries welcomed business investment. So, they reasoned, a business could be formed as a stealth mission effort. So let's hide our real objective, and that is Christian converts, and under the shelter of a business, and thus gain entry into places that were previously unavailable. And thus began the business as mission effort, formed as a church planning strategy and primarily advanced by missionary organizations. The idea nevertheless expanded the concept of a Christian business. Now a business could have a function in the kingdom apart from just making money to support the institutional church. Business people were still thought of as second-class Christians who didn't measure up to the spiritual power and maturity of the professionals. One of my clients voiced his experience this way. He said, I'm the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business. I employ lots of people and run a sophisticated enterprise. Yet, in the church, there's no place for my gifts. If I'm good and don't rock the boat, after a couple of years, they'll let me pass the collection plate. Does that sound familiar? But by acknowledging that a business could have an impact for the kingdom, the religious establishment opened the door to what became a floodgate as Christian business people poured through that opening and expanded the concept of a Christian business. The more people studied what the Bible had to say about business in the marketplace, the more enhancements were added to the core idea of business as mission. Multiple books were written, conferences held, and Christian business people began to flex their newfound muscles. In The Good Book on Business, my most recent book, The Good Book on Business, I noted that a biblical business, among other things, does these things. First, it's God's first choice as a venue in which to interact with mankind. Number two, it provides for teamwork, God working with man to accomplish a God-given good work. Number three, builds faith. Number four, builds relationships with God. Number four, creates character in biblical leaders. Number five, it's a venue for the application of spiritual gifts. Number six is a conduit for God's blessings of material providence. Number seven, provides a community for its employees. And number eight, brings the light of the Holy Spirit into dark places of the marketplace. Those are functions and purposes of a Christian business in the world. The list can go on, but you get the idea. Christian business is not a necessary evil tolerated by the institutional church, but rather a Christian business is a powerful entity at the very heart of God's plan to redeem creation. The concept of business as mission is slowly morphing into a more biblically sound idea expressed this way: business is ministry. Now, back to the idea expressed by my client at the very beginning of this article, the idea that the only purpose of a Christian business is to provide a platform for preaching the gospel. That is a vestige of the BAM idea and is just as wrong as the original BAM premise. As a Christian business, you can bring God's light to and through your business to its employees, customers, vendors, neighbors, and other stakeholders in numerous ways. And again, I'm going to recommend you read The Good Book on Business to get an idea. Now, that's not to say that you may not have an opportunity to share your personal testimony with folks who are drawn to you as they see your Christian walk in the business. People will be drawn to you and will ask. That's the opportunity to share your personal testimony. And, you have the same obligation that all Christians have to share the good news when the opportunity presents itself. So you may, from time to time, find yourself presenting gospel, but it is not the fundamental purpose of your business, nor should it be. Your business can have a powerful impact for the kingdom without you feeling like you must proselytize your associates. Think of the impact Christian businesses like Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby have had, for example. Your business is a ministry and has the potential to be a powerful force in the kingdom. Don't let the wrong-headed impulses of the religious establishment influence you to focus on the wrong things. Okay? Hey, by the way, will you just recommend this podcast series? This is called Christian Business Insights. Will you recommend this series? I'm sure you have colleagues and friends who would benefit by it. Will you recommend it to them? And see if we can't spread the message of Christian Business Insights. Okay, that's it. We're done. Bye-bye.